All right, it's time for another Bears mock draft, and this one comes after the first wave of free agency. With compensatory picks assigned, we now have the full draft order, and as expected, the Bears didn't get any extra picks. So here's where things stand for Chicago heading into the draft. The Bears hold the 10th overall pick in the first round, followed by picks 39 and 41 in the second round and 72 in the third. No fourth rounder this year, despite what some draft simulators might show. Just a heads up, that pick from Carolina actually belongs to Dallas. In the later rounds, the Bears have pick 149 in the 5th, no sixth rounders, and 2 picks in the 7th round at 233 and 240, coming from Cincinnati and Cleveland. Now, after free agency, the Bears' biggest needs are starting to take shape. They need another running back to pair with DeAndre Swift. He's talented, but not a true every-down workhorse. Safety remains a question mark with Jaquan Brisker dealing with injuries and Kevin Byard on the back end of his career. Left tackle is still up in the air, as Ryan Poles himself has mentioned the need for competition at that spot. The trenches need more depth on both sides of the ball, and wide receiver could use another piece, even after adding depth in free agency. Linebacker is another area to watch after losing Jack Sanborn. Now, let's get to the draft. With the 10th overall pick, the Bears take tight end Tyler Warren out of Penn State. This might raise some eyebrows, but there's a real scenario where this makes sense. First off, Warren is one of the top overall prospects in this class, probably in the top 7 or 8 in pure talent. And second, a lot of the guys the Bears might have wanted ahead of him could already be off the board. If 2 quarterbacks go in the top 3, that's good for Chicago, but some big names are likely gone early. Guys like Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, and Mason Graham. In this situation, Warren is the best player available. Sure, maybe you prefer a guy like Will Johnson, but at this point, tight end feels like a bigger need than cornerback. Warren had a huge season at Penn State and brings versatility to the position. He lined up all over the field, played some wildcat, and was a key weapon in the passing game. He's not quite Brock Bowers, but he's close as a prospect. He's dangerous after the catch, can block, and even take an occasional handoff. If the Bears add him, they'd have a strong tight end duo with him and Cole Kmet, while Durham Smythe serves as more of a blocking specialist. It also sets up the team long-term. If they decide down the road not to give Kmet a 3rd contract, Warren could step in as the future TE1. In the short term, he makes the offense more flexible. Just look at how much success Detroit had running 12 personnel last season. So while this pick might not be the first name that comes to mind for Bears fans, it's growing on me. Now let's talk trades. The Bears move down from pick 39 after getting a call from the Buccaneers. They slide back 14 spots to 53, but pick up an extra 3rd rounder at 84. Value-wise, that trade checks out on the draft chart, and it adds another valuable pick to the Bears' arsenal. So, what do you think of the pick? Grade it A, B, C, D, or F. This one's going to spark some debate. The trade makes sense for both sides. The Buccaneers move into the top 40, while the Bears drop to 53. But with pick 41 still in hand, that's a move I'm comfortable making. And with that pick at 41, Chicago grabs Quinshon Judkins, the running back out of Ohio State. I love this pick in this range. Judkins had a strong combine and put together 3 incredibly productive seasons in both the SEC and Big Ten. He burst onto the scene at Ole Miss with over 1,500 rushing yards as a freshman and has been a touchdown machine ever since. One thing that stands out, he produces even against heavy defensive fronts. I saw a stat the other day. When facing loaded boxes, he ranked 3rd in the nation in yardage. That's the kind of tough between-the-tackles running this team needs, especially since DeAndre Swift isn't that type of back. Judkins isn't a pure burner, but he's fast enough, ran in the 4.4s, and has explosive traits. More importantly, He's got great vision, balance, and the ability to shed tacklers. He fits well with Swift, who brings more of a finesse, big play element. Judkins can handle the tough yards and still be effective as a pass catcher. In the second round, that's a solid addition to the backfield. After trading down, the Bears land Oronte Ursary at pick 53. We've gone this route before in mock drafts, and for good reason. He fits the mold of the competition Ryan Poles has talked about at left tackle. Ursary started 3 years at Minnesota, improving every season while facing some of the best pass rushers in the country. He's got the size, 6'6", 330 pounds, and tested better than expected at the combine in explosive drills. His footwork could be a little lighter, but that's coachable. With Braxton Jones recovering from injury, Ursary would get valuable first-team reps in camp alongside Kieran Amagaji. And even when Jones returns, having competition at left tackle is a good thing. Long-term, if Jones doesn't prove he's the answer, Ursary could be the guy in 2026 and beyond. This pick gives the Bears flexibility, and that's smart roster building. Now on to round 3, pick 72. The Bears select Jordan Burch, the defensive end out of Oregon. This is a high-upside pick. Burch had his best college season last year, racking up 8.5 sacks in just 10 games while also tallying 32 pressures. He's disruptive, has a great frame at 6'4", 279 pounds with 33-inch arms, and can knock down passes at the line of scrimmage. Burch brings versatility. He can play outside or kick inside, depending on the situation. The Bears could use him similarly to how they deploy DeMarcus Walker, moving him around based on matchups. He fits the mold of what Matt Eberflus wants in his defensive linemen: long, athletic, and disruptive. Getting him in the early third round feels like good value. And at pick 84, another versatile defensive back, Andrew Mukuba. He projects as a free safety based on his build and ball skills, but has the ability to play in the box or in the slot. The Bears need secondary depth, and Mukuba gives them a chess piece who can move around and help fill multiple roles. Overall, a strong haul so far, addressing needs, adding competition, and bringing in players with upside. What do you think? Let's hear your grades. Andrew Mukuba is an interesting pick here. He's a willing tackler despite being a little on the lean side, had a strong combine, tested well, and put together a productive season at Texas. 5 interceptions, 12 pass breakups. They used him all over the field. And that kind of versatility is something Dennis Allen values. He wants guys who are rangy, interchangeable, and can play multiple roles. Look at Tyrann Mathieu. He's been that do-it-all guy for years. Now, I'm not saying Mukuba is going to be Mathieu, but he has that type of skill set. You can ask him to handle different responsibilities, and he'll deliver. And let's be real. Safety might be a bigger question mark than we're acknowledging. I've said it before, but let's say it again. Jaquan Brisker's long-term status? Uncertain. Kevin Byard? Who knows if he's around after this season. Mukuba can step in as a third safety as a rookie and could be a starter down the road if needed. That's smart roster management. Now, moving into day 3, let's talk about Nick Nash, the wide receiver out of San Jose State. Not a household name, but there's a lot to like. First off, he's got size, over 6'2", 200-plus pounds, which is something this receiver room could use more of. Chicago just signed Olamide Zaccheaus, but adding a bigger target makes sense. Then there's his production. Insane numbers last season. Over 100 catches, 16 touchdowns. But here's what makes his story even more fascinating. He spent his first 3 years in college as a quarterback. Instead of transferring when he didn't win the job, he switched positions, put in the work, and kept getting better. And now, in his 6th year, he was a Biletnikoff finalist. That's unheard of for a San Jose State player. Look, he's not the best athlete. Ran a 4.57, but at his size, with his route-running ability and continued development, he's worth a shot in the 5th round. He's a sleeper to watch. Who's your favorite draft sleeper? Drop a name in the comments. Finally, we hit the 7th round, taking some swings here. First up, Smail Mondon Jr., linebacker out of Georgia. At this point in the draft, if there's a Georgia defender on the board, you take a flyer. He's solid against the run, might not offer much in coverage, but he's probably a special teamer in the NFL. And then, Howard Cross III, a core guy from Notre Dame. Rotational defensive lineman, team leader. At this stage, you're either looking for someone who fills a specific role or a guy with freakish athletic traits. Cross is more of the former, a steady, reliable presence on the interior. Local guy too, playing just a few hours down the road. Maybe he earns a roster spot. So there you have it. Mock Draft 9.0 after the first week of free agency. Quick recap. Traded down from 39, took Quinshon Judkins at 41. Aranti Ursary at 53 to add left tackle competition. Jordan Birch and Andrew Mukuba in round 3 thanks to that extra pick. Nick Nash in round 5 as a developmental receiver. Smail Mondon Jr. at linebacker in round 7. Howard Cross III to beef up the D-line late in the draft. That's the haul. What do you think? Let's hear your thoughts.